Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Libra energy, and we're going to do this 10 card spread, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because, we've got to kind of maybe grow and mature our Libra energy. Libra can be about, it's air sign energy. It's represented by the scales of justice, and sometimes people can be quite immature or bossy or controlling or prideful or egotistical or, whatever. And they think it's just and fair. And some people have learned some lessons in life and they've kind of tempered. We refer to our shadowy nature as our more immature, egoic, worldly nature of self and the world. And some people's truth is they are more about themselves or they are more about the world. And that's fine. They have the free will to live their life the way they want it, make what they want to make important in their life. But some people aren't more about themselves and don't want to make their life more about others. And high vibe energy is about balance. Do I want some of these things of the world like everyone else? Yes. But I'm not willing to sacrifice like truth and justice and fairness and love and growing and healing and maturing myself. Those things are also part of my idea of getting justice in the world, tempering my fears, tempering my more immature egoic or being all about myself nature. And, different strokes for different folks. We just kind of need to listen to our intuition about who's who. you know? We can want to stay in denial of the truth, and that can be shadowy energy too. We could meet someone that we could think they're attractive. Our intuition could be telling us, yeah, this isn't a good idea, because there's certain ways about them that it's like, yeah, I don't think we're on the same page. But, we got some lessons to learn. And, some people keep indulging themselves in that way. Some people keep ignoring their intuition. We can indulge our more immature worldly nature, or we've kind of been there enough times and kind of realize it doesn't quite work out the way that we want. Because high vibe energy is being illuminated to the truth that if I want a certain outcome, if I keep doing certain things a certain way or in getting myself involved in certain situations that aren't in alignment with what I'm trying to manifest, it's probably not going to work out. But some people refuse to see the truth. Like, right here we have the King of Swords, which I view as Libra energy. Sometimes we think we're the boss and I can get things to go the way I want. Even in the face of that, this isn't going to go that way. But some people refuse to acknowledge that truth, so they keep doing certain things. Part of it can be that sometimes we try to change other people, try to manipulate other people, control other people. It's probably not going to work out. Those people are the way they are. They think the way they think. They feel the way they feel. They're motivated and inspired by whatever they're motivated and inspired by. Accept the truth if your truth is different and let those people go live their life and quit trying to change them. Quit trying to manipulate them or control them. It's kind of like a parent with a child, right? You can do what you can do to try to encourage your children, to go down the right path. I mean, that I think is the highest vibrational way. Lead by example. Be loving and encouraging and supportive. Help them love and believe in themselves. Know their worth and value. And some people don't do those things, and instead it's all about trying to be harsh, be critical, or something, right? Anyway, we're going to talk about how different people will be harnessing this energy, depending on how they harness their Libra energy. And this might be something more that people who could be a Libra sun sign or have significant Libra placements might find more of a challenge in their life. Some of them, other people, it's like, I've overcome some of that shit. It don't affect me the way it could have affected me before, you know? But we all tap into Libra energy. And for some people, they might find it more of a struggle even to maintain balance within themselves, offset their own fears, their own insecurity, temper their more immature, self-indulgent nature, and so they keep doing it. I view this as the overarching reason for the reading. So the kings can talk about how people present themselves in the world. We can all, male or female, and when we go present ourselves in the world and take action in the world, it's considered masculine energy. But how do we really think and feel? And the overarching reason for the reading is the Queen of Swords. Anybody can present themselves as a just and fair, stable, grounded, mature person. But who are they really? Some people really are who they say they are. They have turned their back on, they've kind of like learned lessons from the past. They're looking to the future, harnessing high vibe Aquarius energy, which is, I look at life from a higher perspective. We've all been more immature. Over here we have the sword, which is the truth. The truth is we've all kind of been, in the Six of Wands, talks about our ego, Leo nature. We all have been kind of defensive, more inspired by our ego, wanting to go indulge in things that we were sure were going to make us happy, live life a certain way, viewed life a certain way, had these different ideas at these different stages of life. Look back at your life when you were 18, 25, 35, whatever. Ways of living life that we thought were just and fair, and we thought we were living the dream life. We looked really victorious and successful. Well, the thing is, most of us don't stay the same forever, but kind of some people do. And the Seven of Swords is shadowy, can be more shadowy Aquarius energy. Some people were illuminated to the truth. If I want a dream to come into reality, if I want to move my life forward, and I don't want to keep staying more immature, more in my head, because we could live more from our mind than our heart. And some people do. That could make them feel more balanced within themselves and more stable and grounded within themselves. And so some people just do. I don't want to really. Over here, we have the Seven of Cups. Over here is the Five of Cups. Those are both Scorpio energy. Scorpio energy can talk about that we are these emotionally complex human beings. And it can be confusing, kind of, is what the Seven of Cups can talk about. I can have all these different thoughts and feelings and emotions, and I can have contradictory emotions. I hate them, I love them, I don't ever want to talk to them. I hope they call me tomorrow. And some people could have, just found it too confusing. And then the sun can be kind of like light bulb moment, kind of like the King of Swords. I have an idea. I'm going to operate more from my ego nature, which can be our more self-protective, defensive nature, and living more from our mind than our heart. And the Six of Cups can talk about repeating a pattern of the past. It's also Scorpio energy. I have a way of interacting with people that I like, and I'm going to do that. Well, the problem is when you get in relationships with other people, and those people aren't the other people, right? The new people that people could have a new beginning with, some relationships don't work out. We move forward in new relationships. The sun can be like new beginnings, and we get new relationships with other people. Well, the other people have their idea of kind of like the dream life. And it probably isn't necessarily to repeat some pattern and a way of acting and behaving and interacting and viewing life. necessarily like some of the other people that other people have known, dated, grown up with, right? I mean, we all can get in relationships and to get to know each other. And the Seven of Swords can be that we can be a little leery, so we're kind of being careful. It is kind of like, well, how do you expect this to move forward? Well, how do you expect it to move forward? And just kind of listening to our intuition about each other. And we could go through this phase of life, which is pretty common. It's like a stage of a relationship. We meet someone who, oh, this person in their Aquarius energy might seem to kind of be motivated and inspired. Both the Sun and the Six of Wands is Leo energy, which is fire sign energy, which can be about kind of what drives and motivates us. Here's someone who maybe seems to be aligned with my truth. They seem to have some of the same viewpoints in life and maybe enjoy some of the same things that I enjoy doing. And we could have some similar viewpoints on life and look at life from certain perspectives that we kind of have in common. And we could kind of think in the Six of Cups, that we get along pretty well because the sixes can talk about balance and kind of equal give and take. The thing is, with people who might harness a more shadowy Scorpio energy, who like to live more from their mind and their heart, they don't harness their Leo energy in a more high vibrational way. Shadowy Leo is kind of operating more from your defensive egoic nature, and that can mean a lot of things. You're kind of immature, you indulge yourself in more immature ways of thinking or behaving or logic or reasoning. Maybe kind of stubborn, maybe kind of defensive, maybe jealous, envious, competitive, prideful, whatever it could be, right? Other people can harness that energy in a more high vibrational way, which is where, we've all been kind of more immature in our life, right? And we've probably all had some people who we had been in relationships with that we thought a dream was going to come into reality with and that we were going to keep moving forward with them. And then some of those people didn't want to keep working with us. The Five of Cups can talk about that people feel sad because they feel like people were more emotionally manipulating them. Instead of over here in the Two of Cups, moving forward, more aligned with like truth and love and justice and fairness and treating other people the way they like to be treated. And maybe even moving forward in a more emotionally mature relationship or a more committed relationship. The King and Queen of Pentacles is the only married suit of the deck, but in high vibe, the King of Pentacles, I view it as Capricorn energy, and shadowy Capricorn energy is represented by the devil. So all of us in our Capricorn nature of what we view as victorious and successful and what our dreams are and what motivates and inspires us, high vibe people kind of free themselves and deal with the truth about some issues in their past that make them kind of defensive, because the Queen of Swords can talk about that we've had these things in our past that can make us a little leery, in the Seven of Swords of trusting other people or going and getting a new job, looking for a new friend, looking for a new relationship, because we've had some people in our life who maybe could have disappointed us, right? And so we don't like staying in that energy. I don't like that continuing to manipulate me. So they want to get to the truth. And so they get inspired to work through their own mental conflict about some of these issues from their past. And the way they do it is kind of, by looking at them. I'm going to shed light on some of these issues from my past to kind of wrap my brain around it, because I don't want it to keep manipulating me. And so they put in Capricorn as earth sign energy, which can talk about putting in work and effort. I'm going to put in some work and effort to try to, in the Six of Cups, kind of make peace with some of these issues from my past so they don't kind of manipulate me the way they do. I don't like being more defensive. I don't like being more in my ego. I don't like being more up in my head. There's people I would maybe like to be in friendship or relationship with, or I'd like to leave the job I'm in to go get a different job, but I kind of got to work through my fears of it. And so, it's kind of to deal with the truth of it. Is everybody like everyone else? No. But you have to be willing to deal with the truth. If there were some things in my life that didn't work out the way I wanted, I first have to be willing to look at myself. Where did I need to heal and grow and mature myself? Where was I more defensive or immature or codependent, or if you're a bossy or controlling or whatever, you'd have to be willing to illuminate and deal with the truth. And there's some people who will never do that. And that's a free will choice that people can make. I don't want to work through those issues. I don't want to deal with the truth of those issues. I can decide in my pride and ego, I don't have to. I'm just going to not deal with those things, and that can be shadowy Seven of Swords. I want to kind of keep staying in denial of the truth, because in the Seven of Swords, the 5, this person's holding 5 swords. The 5, the 6, and the 7 are all Aquarius energy, and the 5 can be, I have this dream. Well, the 2 of Swords is Libra energy. Some people, they could have a problem with being more just and fair. They could have a problem listening to their intuition. Their intuition, when we've all been more immature, reckless, prideful, whatever we were, right? Our intuition was probably kind of telling us, you're being this and this. But we didn't want to listen to it because we were maybe enjoying it, whatever way we were living our life. And we could have had some people in our life who kind of wished that we would work through some issues, and maybe, again, shadowy energy could be that people are kind of more tipped out of balance. And the 7s I view as the kind of the tipping point. You're either a little, because there's 12 zodiac signs, so, and we connect in with all of them. We have our own little universe of our emotional nature, our worldly nature, our fire nature, our air sign nature, and kind of the majority rules in our dualistic nature, right? And so the 7s can be that some people, and we've all been there, but doesn't mean we acted or behaved or thought like other people, but we all can be more caught up in our head, in our fear, in our immaturity, in our ego, thinking we can change other people, thinking it maybe should be more about us. It just depends on how shadowy people were, right? But eventually some people, and we could live our life, and we don't necessarily have to be shadowy, but we kind of might just be more caught up in the world and in our Aquarius and Libra energy. It's like, I want these certain things of the world. These things of the world are really important to me. I might want to get married. I might want to have children. That is a dream of mine. And because those things are really important to us, sometimes, we don't really listen to our intuition, because again, it's kind of like, I want those things that I want to manifest, or I want a certain job, or I want a certain pay scale, or I want a certain status or image, or people to like me or be in relationship with me. And sometimes we don't listen to our intuition as much as we should have. And our intuition was kind of given to us as a gift to try to help to guide us about who does seem to kind of be more on the same page as us or not, because our kind of like our higher self, our more intuitive, creative, the one that's not more influenced by fear and insecurity and codependency and ego, wants us to have our dream come into reality, but we have free will and we can kind of, pride can come before the fall, and we've got these lessons to learn. So we might get in some more mismatched relationships because we kind of didn't want to listen to our intuition. And when we got in those jobs, friendships, and relationships with some people, eventually it kind of could have been illuminated that we really don't kind of view life the same. And my idea of the dream life and dream relationship and how I want to get along with people in a workplace or a friendship or romantic relationship could be kind of different than how other people want to get along in a workplace, friendship, or relationship. And they could think, of course, their way of interacting is just and fair. I might not find it to be just and fair. And then everybody can kind of feel betrayed because we thought you thought like I thought, and I thought you thought like I thought. And that's the thing. We all have our truth. We all view life from our own perspective. Uh, you know, if you like each other, you enjoy each other's company, but it can get down to really this core kind of foundational truth. And part of that is, are you more about yourself in the world, getting in a relationship more for the ego, the image, the status, being in it, to be in it? And, and for some people, they practically stay in anything, job, friendship, or relationship, more out of maybe fear or codependency or fear of change or fear of stepping outside their comfort zone. And that's fine. They can live their life like that. But other people in their fire sign energy could be a little more inspired within themselves to keep facing their fears, to keep working through their past pain and heartbreak and their self-limiting beliefs. To then the Seven of Cups again is like, I want to explore the mysteries of life emotionally. And high vibe Scorpio is, I want more deep, meaningful relationships. And again, some people don't. Some people aren't very deep people, and they're okay with that. And other people might kind of find it difficult to have a more deep, meaningful relationship with them because they're not even really more emotionally connected in with themselves to, they haven't explored themselves emotionally to even really know what they think and how they feel. And we come in contact with all these different people to help us get clear about our truth. But some people decided a long time ago, maybe I'm going to make my life more about conforming to the world. That's what the world tells me to do. And if I do these certain things and I have these certain things and I dress a certain way, or if it's to go kind of be wild and crazy, like look at me living the dream life of being all about myself and irresponsible, or getting in relationships, but more just making their life more about conforming to the world and letting the world kind of, and that can be the Seven of Cups too, more caught up in the illusion of the world and wanting to be in relationships, be in jobs with other people who really don't want to free themselves from their more worldly view of life. So the devil, like I mentioned with Capricorn, we can all, it's kind of like the devil tells us, kind of like our more shadowy nature, make your life about these things, you'll be happy. You don't have to look at life from a higher perspective. You don't have to work through your past pain, heartbreak, fears, insecurities. You don't have to grow up and mature yourself. You can just keep doing this. And even if you are kind of immature or deceptive or manipulative or prideful or abusive or whatever, try to present yourself Libra energy, that anyone can harness this type of Libra energy within themselves. Can be like our public politician persona, to present ourselves and in the world, like we're these just and fair and stable people. So people view us as these just and fair and stable people, and maybe put in some work and effort to look like a shining star in the world in some way, maybe in your stability or security or your charm or your looks or whatever it is. And then if you do that, and you have this certain status and image in the world, and people view you a certain way, then, you could maybe get away with being a little more shadowy. The Seven of Swords can talk about being deceptive and manipulative. You create the illusion that you are who you say you are, and you walk the talk. That's high vibe Taurus energy. Like I am who I say I am. No, just put in this work and effort to create this illusion about you're a pillar of society. You wouldn't hurt anyone. You're not more prideful or egotistical or immature or bossy or controlling or more about yourself or more materialistically consumed. But for some people that's all an illusion. And some people either decided that, and from their life experience and watching other people in their life, they could have thought that's what everybody does. Love is an illusion. People really don't grow up and mature themselves. Nobody ever really tempers their ego because maybe they grew up with people who, by worldly standards, look like these pillars of society. But maybe behind the scenes, they really weren't. And maybe they were a little prideful and bossy or controlling or stubborn or full of themselves. Well, and they see those people seem like everybody views them like this certain type of person, and everybody kind of excuses these certain behaviors and ways of being. And then they kind of learn that. I don't really have to grow up and mature myself. I just have to create an illusion in the world. What and who I go invest my time, energy, and effort into, and what functions I participate in, which things I don't do. So it's all about, and that's just shadowy energy in general, right? I mean, the devil is trying to basically create the illusion they're God. I love you. And again, you can do all these things. And if we invest in those things in the world, we can have a lot of status and image and success in our life. And the devil tries to tell us we'll be happy. Indulge in this, drink this, eat this, make your life about yourself, make it more about you. Just be more deceptive and manipulative. Live more from your mind than your heart. Don't do love. You get hurt doing love. Don't do love. Yeah, no, that's like God. Don't do that. But create the illusion you're aligned with love. And then sometimes that's what people do too. It's like, no, I'm not really going to do love. I want to be in relationships. I enjoy being in relationships, but I'm not really going to do a more deep, meaningful relationship because I could get hurt doing that. And I've maybe done that before, and it didn't work out the way I wanted. So now, instead of listening to my intuition about the different people in life, no, some people hurt me. That's it. All of you are going in the same bucket. You're all untrustable. And sometimes we can feel that way too. But the truth is, not everybody is. We live in a world of duality where we have free will choice. At any given moment, probably 50% of the people in the world are more aligned with their hopeful, believing, loving nature. And 50% of the people are more aligned with, more about indulging in a relationship, being in a relationship, more caught up in the ego and image and status of it, or more shadowy. And that could be the truth that we need to see. We do live in a world of duality. And everybody has free will to have their truth. We just need to realize that some people wear really good false masks. And we maybe haven't been in relationships with people who wear such a good false mask. We could have known people it was obvious from the time I met them. They were kind of immature and reckless. Might have been fun, but they were immature and reckless. I might have met other people who's like, well, it's kind of obvious that they're kind of arrogant and full of themselves. And then we can meet other people because that's kind of as time goes by, people are growing up, they're getting older, And some people just get better and better at hiding the truth underneath the surface. That's like shadowy Scorpio. And so, as we go through those life experiences, we realize I probably did have my intuition tell me sometimes, I don't really think we're on the same page. I don't know if this is going to work. But, you know, we had lessons to learn. But now that some people have learned that, they are also probably more balanced within themselves. And the situations that they had went through forced them, whether they had wanted to or not, I can't keep doing this. I cannot keep staying in denial of the truth, and I don't want to keep. I need to see the truth. I don't want this to keep happening. So I need to see the truth. I need to reconcile myself with some issues within myself because it starts within me. There's always going to be shadowy people in the world. And they will play on my own issues, my fear, my insecurities, my past pain and heartbreak, my want for these things of the world. I have to learn, and here we have these 3 cards here that in high vibe, oh, and this one too, about maintaining balance within yourself. I have to learn, and I view high vibe Leo as loving yourself. I need to learn to love myself. I need to learn to give myself the things that I wish other people in my life would have given me so I can heal. Aquarius is also about healing. And I want to have these new beginnings that don't end like this. And part of that can just be, there's no guarantees in life, but if I'm working in workplaces, friendships, or relationships, whatever it is, if I'm working with people and then something happens where it's like, wait a minute, that's like confusing, I'm no longer going to stay confused about it. People made a free will choice to be hurtful, to be unkind, to be whatever, right? No, no more. No longer going to be confused about it, and no longer going to let it kind of get me in my ego and wonder why aren't those people working with me cooperatively. Shadowy people can be, I might work with you cooperatively, but then I want to see if I can manipulate you. So then I might start doing some of these things to see, because you want it to work, that you'll keep putting in work and effort in the face of all of it to make it work. Well, it's one thing if you're in a community or a workplace, right? That, well, I have to work with you, so I can't really get out of having to work with you. But it's no longer staying in denial of the truth. I noticed that. Note was taken. And I don't feel the way about you the way I used to feel about you. I don't view you the way I used to view you, because you showed me something that showed me that, it's one thing if, someone going through difficult times or something, but still, we can all go, have you ever worked with some people where it's like every day is kind of like, oh my God, what the hell is going on in their life? And other people can be going through things and you wouldn't know it at all. How good high vibe Leo could be. How well can you temper yourself? This isn't the time and the place. These people aren't the people that I got an issue with. So why would I kind of sabotage another relationship when some other relationship kind of might be falling apart? It can be one thing to tell people, I got some things going on. I really got a lot on my mind. some things of, I don't even really want to talk about it because it gets me angry or something, that, I think I'm just going to work alone, and maybe I'm going to take this project, and no, I don't want to go out for lunch, and I just want, people can understand that. If people are willing to communicate the truth, and, you don't got to tell everybody your details, but you can shed some light on, there's just some things going on that got me stressed out, or got me up in my head, or whatever, or I'm sad. But if people never tell people, it's kind of like they can think, it's funny for the people who decide, well, I think it's just and fair for me to act that way because of these things that were going on in your life. It's like, do you have any idea what's going on in anybody else's life? Well, no. Well, what if everybody came to work and was acting like all these ways because of all these things going on in their life with nobody telling each other? It would be a complete disaster, I think, right? But I think as high vibe people keep taking action, the King of Swords can be taking action, maintaining balance within yourself, standing up for your truth, wanting to be in more authentic, loving, encouraging, balanced, inspiring, deep, meaningful relationships where there's equal give and take. And of course, if it's at work, or in your community, no, I don't want a deep, meaningful relationship with you. But can we get along, right? And work together. Everybody kind of temper their ego. It's not more about you. It's not more about me. It's really not about us. It's kind of about what we're trying to work together on here, you know? If you move forward in that way and you do listen to your intuition about people, and when people do act in ways, it's like, yep, note taken. Thank you for showing me the truth of who you are. If I don't really have to work with you, I don't want to. I'm not going to try to change you. I'm not going to try to figure out what's going on. I just know people have the free will to treat other people the way they like to be treated, to speak truth, work cooperatively. And if you haven't learned how to do that, then I'm going to let you work with and hang out with whoever you want to work with and hang out with. And as you move forward in that energy, have made peace with the past so that you can have this new beginning, adding a cup of love to the past so that we don't, kind of like I've grown and healed and matured myself in certain ways. I was 15, 18, 21, 25, had these whatever issues I had to deal with at all those different stages of life. And that influenced how I thought, how I felt, if I was more balanced, more imbalanced, more just, more fair, more authentic, more loving. And I've learned lessons. I've been illuminated to how some of those things manipulated me and how it could have stopped me from kind of growing in a way to my full potential. Well, then as you move forward in this energy, kind of like, I don't want to repeat some of those past ways of being. And that's what high vibe people do. Some of the shadowy people, it's like they still have some of the shadowy traits and characteristics that they could have had and exhibited when they were 15, 18, 21, 25. They just learned to hide them beneath the surface because other people don't like it. But they never saw the truth about maybe how they should turn their back on those ways of being. That's bossy, that's deceptive, that's manipulative, it's egotistical, it's immature, it's being full of myself or something. That still is their truth. It's just to try to get people in a relationship with them who don't know that truth about them. And then once they get in the relationship with them, they're hoping that even if they do it and act in those ways that other people find confusing, that the other people will keep trying to put in work and effort to make it work. and that they won't listen more to their intuition. And then it can be being more manipulated by the world. Well, I took this job, or I got in this relationship, or I got in this marriage. Well, was someone being deceptive and manipulative from the beginning? Did you finally realize, or during the course of it, they became deceptive and manipulative, or weren't telling the truth? Kind of realize, oh, you're not willing to come out from behind your ego and do a more deep, meaningful relationship? Well, I thought we were going to do a deep, meaningful relationship. Well, my dream can't come into reality with you. You gave the impression you weren't more defensive or self-protective, or more defensive, or more about yourself. Or, oh, you really are more about the ego and the image of it? I thought it was love. Well, I don't want to stay in a relationship with you because it works for you, for your ego and your image and your status. I want to be in a relationship with someone because of love. And I don't want to get in a job and stay in a job with people who created the illusion they were going to be these just and fair and treat people, a certain way, and that there's going to be potential for people to progress. And then that was all just an illusion they created to get people to get in it, but they're not really going to do that. And the same way that employers can do that, employees can do that. Oh, you should hire me. Oh, yes, I'm this just and fair, and I'm motivated and inspired to put in work and effort and to grow and heal and mature myself and get out of being more about myself, or trying to cheat the justice system. Maybe other people could do the work, and maybe because I look a certain way or have a certain education, or maybe, whatever, that maybe I don't have to do what other people do. Really walk the talk. Can I kind of cheat the justice system? Not really have to do that. And then employers get stuck with some employees that, they thought would be people who'd work together with them. And then it's kind of like, oh my gosh. And then it's hard for people to let go of people. They might have a certain status or image. They might be smart in some areas, but, it's kind of wanting people who are more balanced and maybe well-rounded, that there's more ability to work with them and compromise with them. And you kind of realize with some people, that's not going to happen. They are who they are. They think the way they think. They justify why they do what they do. Even if it kind of stabs them, it doesn't work out for them. But, because we've all worked with people who, and in friendship groups or whatever, with people who they keep acting these certain ways, and they go get in a different friendship, they get in a different job, and they kind of do the same thing again. Shadowy energy again can be where, and that's what the Six of Cups can be. That people keep repeating these patterns, because we will all repeat a certain pattern until we learn the lesson we were meant to learn. And some people refuse to learn the lessons. It's just like, oh, well, you were the wrong person. I just need to find someone else who thinks the way I think, or is more caught up in me, or more willing to indulge me. And it's like, well, good luck. You maybe will find someone who's maybe more codependent on you. An employer could be more codependent on you because they really need someone to fill that job. They might be in regret the whole time. And if they ever meet anyone else that could maybe do that job, they'd probably be willing to give the job to someone else. But until then, they'll probably keep you. And sometimes people in friendships and relationships will do that too, right? Shadowy people who harness this energy in a more shadowy way, they do not like it when people kind of see through the illusion, or don't keep being manipulated by whatever they're manipulated by. Some people have people in their life that they're moving forward with, their friend group or their original family group or whatever. But it also could be their self-protective nature, their immature nature, their prideful nature, whatever. That is how they want to keep moving forward. Let's keep doing this. Let's create the illusion like we have what other people have, but it's never going to change. That's just an illusion. Like, if other people in their life aren't willing to look at life differently, they're not going to do life differently because they're more codependent on those people, but they might not want to see the truth of it. And sometimes the Three of Cups can kind of reference a third party. Sometimes the people that people date or they marry or they have a family with, those people are all like a third party to this other foundation in their life. And again, we align with these things within ourselves, and then we can have people in our life who kind of represent those aspects of ourselves because we're kind of looking for people who kind of have the same viewpoint in life as we do. So for some of the people in our life who we know are kind of maybe caught up in themselves, codependent, like to try to manipulate people and create an illusion about who they are, odds are they have some people in their life that are a core foundational group that they align with that think and feel that way too. Those people represent those aspects within themselves in like human form. And if other people do this work to kind of free themselves from regrets of the past to come out on the other side, they look at life differently. The Six of Pentacles can be where I exchange that foundation and that way of living life and viewing life and things I used to think were just and fair for this foundation. And now I'm moving forward in life differently. Some of the things I used to think were just and fair, I've kind of been illuminated to why I thought that way, why I acted that way, why I viewed life that way, why I could have been harsh and critical or defensive or whatever. And I've worked through the illusions of different things in my life and emotional confusion, and I've come out the other side. And then if they're being more balanced, more high vibe, more authentic, more at peace within themselves, looking to the future, have freed themselves from things that manipulated them, the people in their life who haven't done that, it's kind of like, I don't know what it is, but like you changed, You're not like the same person that you were before. You kind of look at life a little differently. Could you be loving and encouraging and supportive? Yeah, but I'm still kind of have these things and think this way and feel this way. And now you kind of think this way and feel this way and view life that way. Kind of like in our Aquarius and our Leo energy, what we're kind of motivated and inspired and what we believe is possible and how we view the world is different. And then it freed people to be able to be in a more deep, meaningful relationship, or maybe quit being in a more imbalanced relationship where both people could have been tipped out of balance or kind of in shadowy energy, or more mismatched where someone was being more loving and encouraging and supportive, and then the other person likes that dynamic, but they want to be kind of indulged in a relationship and don't want to do a more just and fair and balanced relationship, maybe don't want to be held accountable for their actions, maybe thought they could deceive and manipulate people in their life. Like, now that I got you in the relationship, I think if I were to kind of go do something kind of deceptive and manipulative that I want to go do, that I kind of think is just and fair in my more ego nature, I think you'll be sad and I think you'll be confused, but I don't think you'll maybe love yourself, to stand up for yourself, to work through the inner conflict you have about it, to work through the mental confusion and the emotional confusion, 2 sevens, because you view me as a certain type of person. You kind of bought in to the illusion of who I am. And now that you view me this certain way, just like some of these people experience, some of these people grew up with people who are master manipulators and they know how to do it. And just like they know they have things and people that manipulate them, they want to manipulate you so that you'll stay defending them in a relationship or a friend group or a family dynamic or a workplace like they defend it. Don't choose to live more from your mind than your heart. Make your life more about these things. This looks just, fair, victorious, successful. We look like shining stars. Let's do this. This is just and fair. And some of the high vibe people are like, I can love you and I can love some of the people in your life and all that good stuff. And I like the world and I like things of the world too. But I feel like I'm going to miss an opportunity in love because I feel like it is more living more from the mind than the heart. It is more about the ego and the image. And I do feel like I'm being manipulated, and I don't like any of that. And though I can have people in my life, whether they're brother, sister, mom, dad, adult child, friend, romantic interest, it's kind of like you want me to live a life of illusion and keep staying in denial of the truth that you're not acting in a more just and fair and authentic and loving way. You want me to indulge you with it being more tipped out of balance. And if I'm being more just, fair, authentic, and loving and tempering my ego, but you're not, well, that might work for you and you think it's just and fair, but it's not working for me. And that's when some people decide, I'm going to quit investing more in these people and I'm going to offer myself that cup of love to not stay in denial of the truth anymore. They have their truth. They have their philosophy of life. They have what makes them feel balanced or comfortable or happy. And that's not my truth. And the Taurus Hierophant would be kind of more connected in with your emotions and your intuition, because if you're taking action as a Hierophant, internally, emotionally, you'd be a High Priestess, which is Pisces and Cancer energy. Shadowy Pisces and Cancer can be, you are more caught up in the illusion and manipulated emotionally. And it's like, and hiding the truth. I'm not going to hide the truth. And I'm not going to tell the truth about other people. They can do what they want. I'm going to live my truth. And I'm not going to keep exchanging resources with those people. And that's when those people get mad. Because you're not willing to keep maintaining the illusion. So I think there's some high vibe people right now. They already got out of some situations. They're moving forward in their truth, listening to their intuition, being authentic, working together with people. If there's people in their life who seem to be kind of shadowy, kind of holding up their sword to those people, I'm not repeating that pattern. Maybe give them another opportunity to see if they can work together, but if not, it's kind of like, I'm not going to keep giving people like chance after chance after chance. I learned that if people keep showing me who they are, I'm going to accept the truth of it the first time. And, we can see, I can extend grace to some people, but I might always be more defensive to them going forward. But other than that, looking to the future, going to keep having this new beginning, investing more of my time, energy, and effort, not in the people who don't work together with me in that way, but with the people who do. And as you keep moving forward in your life, some of the people, there can always be other shadowy people who think, oh, I want to be the next person to indulge in a friendship or relationship with you. And you can be loving and encouraging and supportive or getting to know those people. But as you keep maintaining that balance within yourself and not taking action more out of ego or fear or codependency or ego or image, some of the other people start to realize, shit, this person really is who they say they are. And if I were to want to be in a relationship with them, I can't manipulate them. They listen to their intuition. They are being authentic and getting to know people, and they're listening to their intuition about what other people are telling them and how other people are acting. And the shadowy people are going to have to go find someone else. So it's kind of like just by living your more authentic truth, walking the talk, not taking action, and repeating some poor past patterns, that's enough to keep. It's like spiritual protection of keeping some shadowy people away from you. So if you're wondering maybe why some people that you could view, the Seven of Cups could be someone you view as an option, like someone you'd like to get to know better. Well, you're living your truth. Those people see you living their truth and they know their truth, and it's not that. So, can they get along with you and enjoy being in friend or some type of social interaction, but you're not willing to maybe get, the Six of Cups and, these words and cards about balance? It could kind of be with some people, it's keeping them in a friend zone until you know more clearly what kind of person they are and what their truth is. And, if you just want to indulge in a relationship and create an illusion, yeah, no. If you want to go indulge in a relationship and create an illusion, you can do that with someone else. Otherwise, you would have to be willing to invest in getting to know me and doing more equal give and take before I'm going to invest more in you. And just like you could be doing that, there could be other people as you're moving forward, listening to your intuition about people that feel that way too. And it's just taking this time, going with the flow, seeing where people are at. Some people have left some situations. Taurus can represent, the Hierophant particularly, can represent all these different institutions of the world, friendships, relationships, marriage, jobs. Some of you are on this new journey for sure, and you're probably on this new journey. Some people in your life are people in your life who kind of work through some of these issues and have gone through some of these changes and stages of life with you, and they're still moving forward with you. And together, you can be kind of sad at some people who dropped out of your life, And then there's other people that individually, you and some of the people who are working together with you, we all can have different people in our life who, it didn't work out. They wanted to defend living their life a certain way that we were kind of ready to keep moving forward, and they could have been defensive to, just the fact that you seem to be on different pages. And, we'd have to work through those things to keep working together. And some people are like, no, that's okay. You can go. I'll go do this. So, what's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Libra energy? As you keep doing this work within yourself, from the 7 down to the 5, it's kind of just working through that regret in the Two of Cups, that there were some people in our life, and the Two of Cups is Cancer energy, and so it can represent people in our life who kind of were soulmates in our life. That some of those people we had a connection with them. It just maybe, again, some people, we could have been loving and encouraging and supportive people to each other during a phase of life, and we could have went through several stages and phases of life, but then it could get to be where, we just can't, whatever the next phase of life is, keep maintaining the friendship or the relationship. And it's kind of letting that go. And again, I think people offer truth and love to the situation to not stay up in their head about it. If I know I acted with character and integrity, or if I know I didn't, well, then I should maybe go apologize. But or maybe I didn't, but maybe there was other things that showed me that wasn't on the right, I was heading in the wrong direction, right? Just to come to a place of peace about it. What's coming up for the high vibe people they don't see coming? The Tower. Why? Because of the Three of Swords and the Nine of Cups. Well, the Tower can be, we see the truth of a situation. And we see the truth that some people's kind of at a core foundational level of kind of what drives and motivates them is different. So, again, we can be in friendships and relationships with people for a long time. And there can be things that we're not sure about. We kind of go back and forth about, because before the Three of Swords comes out, there's the Two of Swords. And we kind of go back and forth, and again, like, well, I wanted this person, I like this person, friend, family, whoever. I had a dream. I had hope that things would keep moving forward. And so for a long time, we can stay in that Two of Swords energy because we kind of don't want to see the truth, or we don't know the truth. But as some people spoke their truth, decided to live their truth, you can come with if you want, but I'm not going to repeat some of these patterns, and some behavior or whatever is unacceptable. It has to be where people are who they say they are. No more illusions. And people have to work through these regrets of the past and free themselves from some things that manipulate them and become more independent of other people, the world, their ego, their defensiveness, or whatever it is that manipulates them. So because you didn't want to keep staying like stuck, is what the Two of Swords in Libra can be, I am going to take action, which is what the masculine cards can talk about, taking action. I am going to take action to be inspired, to reconcile myself with the past, see the truth of who's being deceptive, manipulative, trying to confuse me, trying to manipulate me, try to use the love that I have for them to manipulate me. And see the truth. Everybody has free will to act in a just and fair, balanced, authentic, loving way. And I see who does and who doesn't. And no more illusions about who people are. And because you are willing to get balanced, the Three of Swords can talk about being balanced between your mind and your heart with truth and love. People are either just and fair and truthful and authentic and loving, or they're not. And I'm not going to keep going back and forth about it. That helped you in the Nine of Swords, or the Nine of Cups, become independent of some people. And from the Five of Cups to the Nine of Cups is Cancer energy, again, about love of yourself. I'm going to take that cup of love. I've been giving that cup of love to people who have been rejecting it. And that made me sad. And I didn't understand why they're not working together with me more cooperatively. Well, I think it's because they don't want to. They either don't want to be more just and fair. They don't want to reveal the truth, speak the truth, become independent of whatever they need to become independent of, or still have things in their life or in their own head that manipulate them, or a way of viewing life or viewing relationships in a way that they think is just and fair. So you decided to offer yourself that cup of love to become independent. For one, that can be a tower moment for some people who had the idea, I could be more just and fair and work together with you in a just and fair and loving way and speak the truth and reveal the truth. But I think instead, I'll try to deceive and manipulate you to get you to do what I want. And some people who are doing that are seeing it kind of blow up in their face because some of the high vibe people in their life see the truth, no longer willing to stay in denial of the truth, and no longer in regret about some people that at one time you could have worked for, could have been in your family, could have looked up to and admired, could have viewed a certain way, wanted to marry, did marry. You see the truth. And that helped you detach from this foundation. And initially, some people who are going through this, that's like the first tower is feeling betrayed, taking action to move away, stand up for yourself. Then you go through this process of transmuting this energy to work through all of this. And then the second tower is when people have emotionally detached. So it's one thing to move away from people in the Six of Wands. It's another thing in Scorpio energy, which is kind of like our emotional attachment to people. Then you detach from that and you become independent of it. And the Nine of Cups is Pisces energy. Scorpio is fixed sign energy, where it's hard to get out of something that we put time, energy, and effort into. And we're emotionally complex human beings. It's one thing to move away. It's another thing to emotionally free yourself from them. And that's what some people are on the second stage of this situation. Some people are in the midst of it. Some people are just getting into some mismatched things, you know. Other people have already went through it. And then as you just keep living your life, there's always going to be shadowy, immature, deceptive, prideful, bossy, controlling people in the world. You listen to your intuition about who's who. And the better you get at it, where you don't like get up in your head or get sad, like, and you see the truth of it. I've already been in relationships with people who kind of act like that. I'm not going to invest more time, energy, and effort. It can be a shock to the people who aren't used to people basically calling them on their bullshit like right away. It's like, fuck. You know? And for some people who have acted that way in their life, I think it can be a problem for them as they get older, because other people have gotten older and had more life experience, and it can be harder and harder for them to do their bullshit because other people aren't willing to put up with it. It's like, well, shit, usually people would be in a friendship or a relationship with me and they'd try to make the relationship work because of blah, 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 and try to get me to change. And now the high vibe people are like, yeah, no, I'm not going to try to change you. You apparently have your truth and your way of interacting with people. I'm balanced within myself. The Three of Swords is what that can talk about. I'm balanced between my worldly nature and my hopeful believing nature and truth and love. And you're not acting that way, so that's too bad. I would have liked to have gotten to know you and work together with you, but I'm not going to indulge people in poor behavior anymore. Done it enough. And I will take that cup of love to accept the truth, make peace with it, and become independent of you and not really have much more to do with you. And some of those people are like, shit, I cannot fuck around with this person. It's like, yeah, you should learn why fuck around with anybody? Why not be like a decent human being with people? Well, because I really like it to be more about me. Makes me feel like powerful and gets me in my ego that I can live from my mind and mind fuck these people and screw around with them and watch them be confused. That makes me feel so powerful. It's like, oh my God. Go invest your time, energy. You know, it's like a false sense of empowerment. But there's people who do that, just like people who are rude and bullies or snobby or dismissive of people. It's like this feeling, driving this false sense of empowerment, how I can control and manipulate people. Well, it's like this balloon going up in the air, which isn't like sustainable. It's because as soon as the other people work through it, again, people can kick people to the curb and throw them under the bus. When the other people pick themselves up and move on and deal with the truth of it, like, shit, I guess you're a shitty person. Well, then the balloon comes floating back down because it was a false sense of empowerment. How about putting work and effort into things you really can be proud of? Quit trying to manipulate and control people and build your ego off of trying to deceive and manipulate and show yourself how smart you think you are, that you can confuse and hurt people. Is that really anything to be proud of? High vibe people would be appalled at themselves if they acted like that, even if they had maybe acted like that at one point in time in their life. But the more bossy, the more controlling, the more prideful, the more entitled, the more materialistic, blah, 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 self-indulgent, immature some people are, they got a lot of lessons to learn. And odds are they will not be changing anytime soon. They will just go try to find someone else to manipulate. And some shadowy people act that way, trying to destabilize people who are more balanced and independent, because they don't like that you're not manipulated by what they're manipulated by, and they want to get you in the same energy they're in. And some high vibe people said, I'm not going to let shadowy people destabilize me. I'm going to see the truth. You're not a very just, fair, loving, kind person. I don't want to be in a friendship or relationship with you or work with you. I want to distance myself from you. And then, because they think they're so smart, how did you free yourself from, like, me doing that to you? Where if people, and they probably have people who do that to them in their own life, but they keep kissing their ass. How do you do that? And that's high vibe energy. Being a good leader in the world. I treat other people the way I like to be treated. I know my worth and value. I maintain my balance. I'm less codependent, even though I could have been not those things in the past. But I've kind of learned these lessons in life. And I've already dealt with people who are like that. And I don't like it. So I did the work to free myself from that way of thinking and viewing life within myself. And now kind of being maybe a little unshakable. And that could kind of be intimidating to people. More so to people who can't intimidate or control you. But yeah, you're having a new beginning. And some people could be shocked because they never, I don't know, they didn't view you that way. They thought for sure they or other people in the world would be able to manipulate you or control you. And you're very independent. And it looks like looking very stable and abundant within yourself and grounded within yourself. Working with other people who are. What's coming up for people who harness a more shadowy Libra energy that they don't see coming? The Three of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. And the reason is because of the Six of Cups. There's people who keep being inspired to keep repeating this certain way of living life or viewing life because that's our truth. And they don't have an interest in doing life differently. Just like, when we were 18 or 21, we lived our life like an 18 or 21-year-old, And you could look at it as just people's different emotional maturity level, because most people watching tarot are more in their midlife, right? But it can just be the emotional maturity, just being more caught up in themselves or more caught up in a worldly viewpoint of life. It could be people you know that you can enjoy, but some of the people it's just they just still, and some of them it's just that they don't think there's any higher truth or justice to aspire to. It's just about the world and they don't get it. I don't know. But the shadowy people, they keep repeating this certain pattern because that's their comfort zone. And that's how they view life, and that's what they think is just and fair. And they're probably going to have some people in their life who also think that way. It's just that there's always going to be people in their life who, again, work through some of their issues in the Three of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy. Everybody, and the Nine of Pentacles can mean that people are single. People can be single from a job, a friendship, or a relationship. They want to be in friendship and relationship and maybe have a job, you know? So everybody kind of wants those things. It's just that other people are more high vibe Nine of Pentacles, which is Virgo energy. Some people are more balanced within themselves. Again, the sixes can talk about balance, and Libra's about balance. Where some of the other people are a little more tipped in favor of being more about themselves or the world and repeating this certain way of living life. But other people are more balanced and they want more of a balance in their life, which some of these people could, again, not understand. It should be more about this or more about me, and other people just want more balance. And so, there's people in their life who would like to be in friendship or relationship with them, but over time they see that the other people are kind of more tipped really more so in favor of whatever it is that kind of drives and motivates them. And the other people, it doesn't drive and motivate them that much as it does them. And they could kind of find it confusing to kind of be in a relationship with them. Just like, I don't understand why certain things that drive and motivate you, or if you are kind of more shadowy in the way you interact with people, I don't know why you do that. Do you not get it? This really doesn't work well, you know? And some people are single and they want to be married. And some of these people are just creating an illusion that they're willing to get married, and people move forward with them in a relationship, but it's like it always stays out there as like a potential, but it never happens, and eventually the other people see it's never going to happen. And I don't want to be in a relationship with someone maybe who isn't willing to make a more formal commitment. And for the people who want a more formal commitment, I don't want to just indulge in relationships. You either decide you want to be in a relationship where you have to walk the talk and hold yourself accountable, or you can go get in a relationship with someone else. There's some people who are going to be sad, but they want to be in a more formal commitment. Or some people, the Nine of Pentacles can be that just some people know their worth and value. And if they're in friendships, workplaces, and relationships with people who are kind of acting a little shadowy again, well, that's too bad. I would have liked this to have worked out, but everybody kind of has to be working together for it to work out. And apparently your kind of truth and what you think is just and fair is different. And I don't want to stay somewhere where I have to kind of keep indulging someone in poor behavior, and eventually those people become independent of it. And then those people try to find somebody else to work there or be their friend or indulge them in their more shadowy ways of being. And I think shadowy people are always surprised that when people become more independent of their fear or their codependency or their defensive nature or their egoic nature, or being caught up in making their life about whatever in the world because it's really important to them, and they never become independent of it. But then they probably also never communicate with those people. The truth sets us free, but you'd have to humble yourself to maybe even admit that maybe I don't know everything, you know? And some people are too prideful to admit, I don't even understand how those people do that. But I'm too prideful to communicate, hey, it seems like you're doing these things, and it seems like I might have a little problem with that. And I'm kind of wondering, what is it? What helped you work through some of those things? But you'd have to be willing that, you don't know everything. And because of it, they stay confused, they don't understand, and I don't know, keep doing what they're doing, thinking it'll work out. And it's like, and then again, some people, they want to be single, be in more emotionally shallow, superficial relationships, just indulge himself in a relationship. And there can come a time where some of the people, if it is seeming more superficial and shallow, I mean, people would maybe be willing to stay in it. If people maybe seem to, it was a more deep, meaningful relationship, not everybody wants to get married, and be in a more formal commitment like that. People would be willing to stay in it if it was a more deep, meaningful relationship, but some people aren't even willing to do that. And it's like, yeah, no. So there you go, Libra. I wish you peace, love, and joy. Some shadowy people right now are taking action in their ego, thinking they can either deceive the people they're in a relationship with or keep deceiving a group of people. But they don't realize, which they will come to see, when they take action more out of pride and ego and immaturity and defensiveness and manipulation, it's going to backfire in their face. But they keep not wanting to see the truth of that because they always think those are good ideas. and, and it doesn't work out the way they want. So there you go, Libra. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.